Hey folks, Triple Crown here, coming to you from Vancouver, British Columbia. This is a round 2 Allied summary. So Italy is still yet to go this turn, but the Allies have gone. And so this is the update. As mentioned in Hilltop's recap video, the British decided to take a full swing at the Italian Navy in Sea Zone 42, and they were successful. They had 1 or 2 more units coming into the battle, and they were able to soak up more hits with they had a aircraft carrier and 2 battleships, and the Italians only had 1 ship that could soak up 2, and the British had some heavier hitters and 2 medium bombers that came all the way from Western Algeria, and they rolled 2 dice at 4. So they had more dice going into the battle, and round 1 was fairly even. However, round 2, the Allies just soaked up all the hits and didn't really lose a whole lot. So round 2 is where the battle swung in the favor of the British. However, the Italians do have a follow-up with a submarine and destroyer and their whole air force, so they could do a couple things here. They could take out all this aircraft here. That's 2 fighters, a tactical, and 2 medium bombers on Crete. Or the Luftwaffe, which is sitting here, I think, in Bavaria, and come down and air blitz the fleet as well. So that would be mutual destruction of fleets and probably costly on both sides. But hey, it's kind of a reset here. But currently the Italians do not have any naval transports in the water. However, they do have a military base and a minor complex here. And the British currently they built their own military base down here in Rhodesia. And of course, the South Africans are still able to produce. So it looks like for now, Cairo is safe. That was a crazy battle there. Over here, the Canadians came down and annexed Brazil. All of the pro-neutrals in this game as well, every 2 rounds, starting on round 2, they add 1 neutral to their territory. So the Canadians got a bonus guy in Brazil. The Argentines got a bonus guy over here. Over here in Libya, bonus guy. Bonus infantry over here. Bonus infantry in Iraq, but not in Iran because it was annexed last turn. So not a lot happening. The British did build a couple fighters and a destroyer. So they have their own little follow-up happening. There are a couple naval transports down here. Off the coast of Canada, the British built a destroyer. The Canadians their own destroyer and another corvette. So they have a small little navy over here, growing, protected by the air base here off of Canada. But that fleet over there, man, how are the Allies going to deal with that? Well, without the help of the Americans, not a heck of a lot. This is a coastal submarine, the British. The Canadians over here, they railed the guy to the Pacific in British Columbia and moved an artillery back to Ontario. As you can see, the Japanese are putting the pressure on the Americans, or at least it appears that way in the Pacific. We'll get over here. Just want to clarify, because Hilltop and I had to sort through some rules, but basically, let's talk about Finland for a second here. So on the first turn, Germany annexed Finland. So that's fine. They can move units in as a non-com on the first turn. Also, then subsequently on the first turn, the Russians attacked Valpuri. So now what does that mean? There is now a proxy war happening on all Finnish territories and the 2 adjacent sea zones. And we had to defer to Gargantua on the original intent of the rule. And how do we write this? Currently in the rule book, at least the version that I wrote, it's not perfectly clear. So just wanted to talk about this for a second. So the 2 adjacent sea zone in Finland and the 3 territories in Finland. As soon as Russia attacks, that means these sea zones here are now hostile to any basically any Russian ships or any ships in those territories that are German and are Finnish. And that means that what happened here was the Germans came in and did an amphibious landing in Valpuri, and they had a fighter as an escort and also a coastal battleship. And where the question is could the Russians scramble from their air base here in Leningrad to protect that sea zone, which is adjacent to Finland? And the answer is yes. They decided not to scramble, but they could have. So basically, it is a free-for-all battle on these 3 territories and these 2 sea zones between those 3 countries. And that means anything can happen. And so if Russia, next turn decides to air blitz, that small navy there, that is not declaring war on Germany, or vice versa. That means Germany is also not declaring war if Russia has ships here and they're attacked by German units. So just to clear that up. And also a little wrinkle here in Poland that we've added to the rules. So this is another Gargantua thing that he used to do, is he would ignore Poland and go and attack Yugoslavia. Because why would he do that? Well, all of the pro-Axis neutrals are basically down here. Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary are locked in until the Germans and the Italians clear Yugoslavia and Greece. So basically, the Germans want to do this quickly as possible after they build a major industrial complex here in Romania, is because all these forces can then move up and they can attack Russia a turn sooner. So what Gargantua would do is, on the first impulse, he would attack West Poland, which basically freezes all of the Polish guys in Warsaw and East Poland. So we're saying now, if that's the scenario, if Germany wants to attack West Poland and run away, that means that Poland, using the forces in East Poland and Warsaw, can also, on the following turn, can attack Germany. So they don't have to sit put, they're not frozen. But that is the only scenario that happens where they're able to attack, and that is if Germany either does a failed attack on Warsaw, or they decide to ignore Warsaw after attacking West Poland. So this is all going to be clarified in the rules. And Hilltop has been very patient and asking lots of questions and pushing the boundaries on sort of let's get these rules right. Let's get them clarified. I want to understand them, how they're written in the rules, and it's not easy to write, but we are working through it. Currently up here in Valpuri, the Russians came in heavy. I believe they have about 7 or 8 infantry, a light armor, a couple artillery, a couple mech, and a AAA. And so on the following turn, the Germans are going to have to come in heavy to take Valpuri back. And if they don't, that means Helsinki is under threat. And currently, on the following turn, the Russians have a follow-up of another about, I think it's almost 12 or 13 infantry plus their whole air force. So that is a problem there happening on the northern flank, but let's not get too excited because there's now a major factory here in Romania, and all of the pro-Axis neutrals can now go up into, they can centralize in Romania. On the following turn, they can attack Russia. So far in this game as well, the Russians have been very fortunate with rolling for their economy. I think they're at about 37 now in their economy, so next turn they should be at full production, which is great for them. Now over here, some interesting battles happened. The dice were hot and the dice were cold. Probably so far in this game, the dice have been in favor of the Allies more. So the Battle of Chahar, the CCP Chinese went in with 6 units and 1 infantry, 1 paired artillery, and they attacked 4 veteran Japanese, and they were successful. They cleared them out, and the veteran Japanese are actually defended a +1 on their Japanese territory. So The CCP only lost 2 infantry, which is a bonus for them. However, when the KMT came in to take Shensi with 3 units, this lone Japanese infantry defended well and killed all 3 of them in I think 4 or 5 rounds of combat. So the KMT now and after this turn and the CCP are going to be in trouble because the Japanese, with their 2 factories here, are going to be pumping out units, and they're going to be pumping out more units once they build a factory down here. And they've got a nasty looking naval presence currently over here in Calcutta. There's about 12 infantry and 3 on the perimeter, 2 armor and an artillery. So, and the FEC has gobbled up a couple of the money islands here, which they're going to need once they start getting convoyed, but the Japanese are going to come down and I'm sure take all these money islands back. The Dutch came over here to protect the Anzac transport. They came here and took Java, and the Anzac are slowly building. They've got 5 infantry and a couple boats here. They've got to ward off this nasty looking Japanese fleet, the Hilltop here. He's in a position in the Carolines at a naval base to go any direction. So he could be hitting Sydney. He could be going towards America. And currently, Hilltop's being very smart. He's building submarines up here, and he is either going to sink the U.S. fleet, it looks like, in combination with this fleet on the Carolines, or he's going to be heading to all these convoy box zones. So the Americans are actually backed up. They are in San Francisco. They have, I think, about 11 infantry in San Francisco. They evacuated Hawaii. They've got a little bit of an air force happening, but currently on the Japanese sneak attack, if they were to use it on San Francisco, that means the Americans do not fire on the first round of defensive combat, and their ships are -2 for the remainder. So they're going to be getting the heck out of Dodge as soon as this Japanese fleet gets closer. However, the America now does have a little bit of a bonus. They're able to rail 4 units, ground units, from the west coast to the east coast or vice versa on the transcontinental rail network. And Canada's able to rail 1. That's how this guy ended up in British Columbia up here. So things right now for the Americans are in, I would say, precarious shape. Over here in the Med, it's going to be a soft for a while. Nobody's going to have much of a navy. And so are we going to see Luftwaffe fly down here and help out? I think probably so. Are we going to see Luftwaffe coming up here to defend Helsinki? Probably. And I got to think at some point you're going to see this massive navy slide down here, protected by an air base, and you're going to see a couple fighters here protecting the German Navy, which is going to be nasty because they are going to be within range then at a naval base of this whole fleet over here. So the Brits and the Canadians are going to have to keep building. And that's all I got for the round 2 recap. So thanks for watching, folks, and stay tuned for Hilltop Pillbox once he does Italy 2 and Germany and Japan 3.